It's decision week in Nigeria, exactly 3 days to the Presidential National Assembly elections, and we're counting down as Nigerians prepare to vote. Thanks for joining us on the program. I am Nifebi Oguntoye. You can join the conversation live on Twitter using the hashtag TVC Countdown 2023. We'll begin with the explosion that hit the administrative office of the Kogi local government area of Kogi State. The incident was confirmed by the State Police Command in Lokoja. In a swift reaction, the state government has condemned the attack on Kogi Local Government Secretariat, assuring that security agencies have been tasked to uncover the masterminds behind the attack. The Commissioner for Information and Communications in the state, Kingsley Fanwo, in a statement says government has put in place further measures to keep residents safe before, during, and after these elections. He added that preliminary findings reveals that no casualty was recorded. Mr. Fanwo is now calling on residents of the area, as well as the entire Kogi Central Senatorial District, to remain calm, while urging parents to properly guide their wards against being used as political thugs in the forthcoming election. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police has tasked field commanders to police this election against adversaries who do not want the polls to hold. Usman Akali Baba says police operatives must create an enabling environment for the polls. Sifon Essien reports.
All eyes are on Nigeria as it prepares for the Presidential and National Assembly election scheduled to hold on Saturday. Just like the electoral umpire is putting finishing touches to its logistics, the police, which is a lead agency for policing the elections, converge on the International Conference Center to fine-tune their strategy. The training, which is the final in the series for the polls, is coming amid a spike in protest against the cash crunch and fuel crisis.
We are to police the election from those who believe that they can behave as adversaries, those who either do not want the election to take place or are all out to sabotage the process.
The police chief had envisaged a spike in politically motivated violence, but what he didn't foresee is a civil disturbance triggered by the redesign of the naira.
We are to also create an enabling environment for Nigerians who want to take active part in choosing their leaders, to have a conducive environment to come out and vote for the leaders of their choice.
Security and law enforcement agencies are deploying for the elections to complement the police. The police authorities would be mobilizing well over 300,000 operatives for the polls. But what is yet unclear is if the police chief would be reshuffling the commissioners of police in the states. Sifon Essien, TVC News.
Well, let's get some more details from Sifon. He joins me live from Abuja. Sifon, it's a myriad of security challenges ahead of this election. The dimension the naira scarcity protests have taken in some states has also worsened the situation. How's the police reacting?
I didn't quite hear that question, but if you're asking about the complexity of the security challenges, the security chiefs are a security situation or the security challenges are in a constant flux. That's they're changing and morphing from one dimension to the other. We saw, banditry, kidnapping at some point in time that has dipped, and now we have seen wild protests in several parts of the country triggered by the currency redesign and fuel prices in parts of the country. These adds to the challenges that the security chiefs have identified that they will have to grapple with in the run-up to the election.
Has there been any reaction yet from the police as regards the explosion reported in the local government secretariat in Kogi State earlier today?
That again, I found quite difficult in hearing you. But if you're asking exactly what happened in Kogi State, the state commissioner has reacted, confirming the incident at the local council area, Kehi precisely, whereby there was an explosion that affected the administrative block of the local council secretariat. And that we gathered was to create fear in the people ahead of the polls. But the state government has indeed assured residents that they will be able to exercise their franchise come Saturday without having to fear anything, and that the security agencies are on their toes to ensure that nothing untoward happens. And again, we've also seen assurances coming from Abuja, coming from the police chief, coming from the chief of defense staff, that the security forces are on edge to ensure that anyone who spells for trouble is given a bloody nose. That's exactly were his words.
And then the police is speaking tough. Sifon, we've also witnessed some military presence in parts of Lagos. Do we know the extent of military involvement yet in this election? Or we'll probably return to Sifon for more contribution on the program. Sifon is in live for us in Abuja. 3 days to the election, and the issue of naira scarcity is still having its negative consequence on Nigerians. Queues of people scrambling to get into the banking hall to make transactions has not subsided, and there seems to be no end in sight to the scarcity.